All right, so I really want to talk about something that's been on my mind lately. Are we actually lying to our kids about college? And here's the thing, it is not because I am anti education. I am definitely not. I went to college, a very windy path, and the career path that I have does require college. I have two in college right now, one right behind those two. And really, is it because the story that we tell hasn't kept up with reality? Because for decades, the promise was simple it was go to college, get a good job, make more money, and your life is set. And I think that that is just loaded. We'll just say that because tuition has exploded. Now, I did take out student loans. I paid my own way. I paid everything. And the debt did pile up and it continues to pile up for you, I am sure. And AI is also here. And now the job market looks very different, especially for those brand new grads, which I actually talked about in another video. So today, I really want to talk honestly about when college is worth it and really when it isn't. And most importantly, exactly what I would tell a high school senior right now, and also share with you parents out there if you're watching this. So here is the truth and just the simple numbers on average, how college still pays. So I was reading an article about the New York Fed saying the college wage premium is that the extra, so the extra that you earn compared to a high school grad, well, that is about $30,000 a year. And that sounds like a solid return on paper, but averages will hide that spread. So it depends on your major, how long you take to get that degree, and what you pay. All of that will change the math. And if you take 6 years to graduate, whether that's for a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, if you choose a low ROI field, or you pay top dollar for a weak network. So the 12% return can turn into maybe like 2% or even negative. So I think the question isn't, is college worth it? It's which college and which major and at what price. And here's another shift. So public trust has fallen. We have, oh boy, I mean, just, get on social media or the news. About half of Americans now say a 4-year degree is less important than it was 20 years ago. That doesn't mean college stopped working. It means people are starting to run the numbers, and the numbers are ridiculous. But one of the things that really is on my mind is going to college right out of high school, and if that is the way to go. And it really depends. So if you've got clarity, you know what you want to do, you can finish on time, and you're not drowning in loans, then yeah, college right out of high school can still be a true slam dunk. But if you don't have clarity, if you're unsure about your path, your major, your finances. And that was my situation. That is how I took a very windy path in college, was that I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. And honestly, I didn't even know how I was going to fund it. I didn't know anything about the FAFSA, scholarships, like Pell Grants. And eventually I educated myself about this. And then I was able to go to college, but it was a very windy path with some different experience. And in that case, defaulting to college was probably not the smartest play so that I could make the most of my education because, again, I was footing the bill. But what has changed here is that entry-level jobs for college grads aren't what they used to be. So unemployment rates for new grads have actually crept closer to the overall rate and even in some cases beyond, something that has almost never happened. So it's really not that the degree has stopped working. It's just that your first 12 to 24 months after graduation are pretty much less forgiving. And now you need the degree plus proof, the projects, internships, and real world work, which is, I don't know how you're going to get it just straight out of college without somebody giving you an opportunity. But let's actually pause here for a second. So 2 of my boys are in college right now. And my oldest one, and they're all very bright. Let me just say that. They are all very smart, very bright. Now, my oldest one, at first he was unsure. And we were thinking, I know I was thinking like, well, I don't know if college is really going to fix this. Like he was just kind of like floating out there. But then at one point, like in his senior year of high school, he was taking some classes, some sports medicine classes, just seeing if that was something he was interested in. And there happened to be a nurse that was teaching the classes. And so he got to know her. He got to just talking to her and, hearing about her experience as a nurse and how it's a great career path. The funny thing is, I've been a nurse pretty much most of his life. And my boys have only known me as running a business, even though I was a nurse the whole time. but that's just kind of a side point there. So he got inspired by her and he wanted to go down that path. And I know that there are specific prerequisites, there are specific boxes to check. And I knew that the program is very regimented and like he thrives in that. And so I knew when he chose that, he was going to be okay. Same thing for my second son, very bright kid, loves routine, loves a schedule. He is an engineering major and there are boxes to check and he likes to check the boxes. And he also started in high school in the engineering track and he finished it all the way out, got the certificate in high school and just transitioned very easily into college so far. And our youngest boy, who is right behind his brothers, a senior in high school, now extremely bright, he's the kid that literally shows up, takes the test and does well, but doesn't really like to hand in a lot of the work. But again, very bright, taking like AP level classes, college level classes, but still kind of feeling like he doesn't know like where he wants to go. And so we're having some different conversations with him, and I'll actually talk about that as we kind of go into the video. So, and I'll tell you what we've been telling him. But let me just pivot for a second here. So AI didn't kill education. It killed rote tasks. It made just knowing stuff less valuable. Here's the issue. It's often the junior level roles that are getting hit first. And I completely understand this because some companies are using AI to replace what interns or entry level hires used to do. Not that I'm agreeing with it, and this totally sucks, but what it does is it creates not only a gap, it's like a gaping hole, a gap for people who know how to use AI, but not really compete with it. So you might have a business using AI to do certain tasks, but you might have someone with a lot of experience to be able to check that AI, whatever the output is. So the real flex, though, is the human leverage. It's judgment and communication. Oh my gosh, communication for sure. Creativity, yes. Leadership for sure. Those are the skills that AI still struggles with. So these are the things that where we talk about building skills and building experience, whether you're in high school right now, whether you are thinking about college, whether you're in college, or whether you're even looking for a career pivot. These are things to focus on. So have you ever scrolled through that job listing and you see 10 plus years of experience required? All right, I got you. There's a certain level there. Then underneath of it, master's degree preferred. And you're like, what are we doing here? Now, I'm talking about a master's degree that is not tied to a credential, not where you have to have this master's degree to really do the job. If someone has been in the game for 10 or 15 years, the market has already tested them. The market has probably chewed them up and spit them out, has punched them in the face so many times. And if they've gotten up and they are tried and true, that they have pushed forward and they are still doing well, I mean, at that point, you have a real world MBA. And I think that's specifically some of those master's degrees that I've seen. You have led teams, you have solved problems, and you've definitely trained people who have had those degrees. And really, this is actually what you call credential inflation. So companies use degrees as filters, not proof of ability. It's not that they think that degree like automatically makes you smarter. It's just that the HR software or whatever AI that they're using can't measure quality of experience. So they just add master's preferred to shrink the pile of resumes. I mean, it's like saying like we want someone with 10 years of leadership experience, but we'd also like them to have paid $80,000 to prove that they can sit through PowerPoint slides. And I know the MBA is not just a bunch of PowerPoint slides, but you get what I'm saying here. So if you're early in your career, that degree might still open doors. But once you build a decade of results, your portfolio should be very much your resume and speak for itself. And most of the industries, whether it's business, whether it's tech, management, an MBA only makes sense if it gets you something very specific. So it could be a pivot into a new field or a leadership tier, a network that you couldn't have built otherwise. And I always talk about networking, or your employer is paying for it. And yes, if you have the time, the energy, the space to do it, definitely take advantage of that. Otherwise, you're just buying letters for LinkedIn. So if you've already got like that 10 to 15 years in and you're thinking about grad school, I would treat it like any investment. So what's the goal? What is the cost? And what is your return? And if you can't answer all three, then step aside. It is not time yet. And the same logic really applies to undergrads too. So whether it is your first degree or your fifth, the question isn't, should I get it? It's what problem does this help me solve? And this is the transition. This is the answer that I want to talk about. Start with the problem that you want to solve. Then you choose the smartest, cheapest, most credible path to solve it. And that path might be college, and that is totally fine. Or it could be a trade, it could be an apprenticeship, it could be a certificate or a year of work just to find some clarity. And this is the thing, like when I hear, well, college helps you with the networking, it helps you stay on a schedule, it helps you stay accountable. Yeah, so does a job, even an apprenticeship, even an internship. And you're also around depending on the industry that you're in, because I will say college is definitely the one place where you're surrounded by a lot of people at roughly the same station in life, around the same age, seeking something different, whether it's something better, however you want to like categorize it, but just something different. Like you want to learn something, you want to push yourself, but you can also do this. Just depends on what company that you're in or what path you're on. You can still put yourself in that lane just like you would be in college. And the thing is, because here's the difference. Debt isn't just a number, it's a leash. I mean, the median borrower still owes around like 20 plus thousand. I think it's higher than that. But collectively sitting at 1.6 trillion in student loans. So don't take on debt without a plan for how it pays you back. So this is the thing that we have talked with our youngest son in that. And when I talked about certifications, he's actually going to graduate high school with some certifications in tech. These are like computer science related, like cybersecurity and networking and cloud architecture. And the thing is I will say, like when I owned a business and we needed to hire to bring in, starting with consultants and then eventually employees to build out our cloud services and our tech, I didn't care about the college. Did they have the certifications and the experience to do that? It didn't matter where they went to college. But like I said, it was, did they have the certifications so that we can say, yes, these certifications are in place so that they can actually do this type of work and build out this cloud that we were actually building out in the business. But yeah, I digress a little bit. So these are things that we have talked to him about. I would love to send him somewhere out into the world and to be able to expose himself to people, to actually be under a little bit of like friction, a little hurdle here, several hurdles actually. I would like him to be tested and get in front of people and around people, like where he has to talk and where he has to communicate and where he has to advocate for himself and where he has to ask questions, but also like in a situation where he could probably get paid to do it. Whether that is running ski lifts in Japan or running the zip lines in Costa Rica, whatever it takes, I just want to get him there. And I'm glad that we're in a position that we are able to do that. But for those of you that might not be able to afford the plane ticket to go abroad, to get into some of these hospitality areas where you can get paid, but you just can't get there right now, if you can figure out a way to do it, great. But I would just say expose yourself to the world. And whether you live at home, which is great because you're saving money, but just try to stretch. That is the thing. You have to get yourself to stretch. And I will say, like, college forces you to stretch. So you will have to put some of that pressure on yourself. But like I said, if you show up for a job, well, I mean, that pressure's already there because you have to have some deliverables. You have to show up. You have to be responsible. But the quick college ROI checklist that I have talked to my boys about and just anybody in general using this. So the goal is, as I was saying before, what problem do you want to solve? And the credential here is, do those jobs require a degree or a license? Now, In my case, I needed a college degree, but I also have a license. In the case of that IT team that we had, they didn't require a degree, but there were certain certificates and licenses that they had to have, and they didn't need to go to college to get them. Now, your return on investment is look at what the salary is in the city that you are thinking about, like where you would want to move to. And maybe you don't know, but definitely do some research there. And of course, what is the real cost after those grants and scholarships? And here's the thing about time. So, can you finish in 4 years? Every extra semester can drag down your return on investment. But if you're still in high school and about to embark on it, definitely think about those college level classes, those AP classes, because a lot of those schools will transfer those in. My oldest son transferred in like quite a few credits, and our middle son transferred in a ridiculous amount. If he wasn't in a program right now, an engineering program, like where he has to at least by like at minimum do 4 years, he would probably finish in less than 2. I mean, he brought in so many credits. But anyway, now plan B is if you pivot, does the skill still have value to you? Now, there are alternatives. I'm loving the trades, and I'm definitely hoping our youngest is certainly gravitating in that area. There is community college, yes, and then you can also transfer. I mean, I think that's a smart play because a lot of those colleges, I mean, it is either next to free or it is really, really cheap. Now, there are those online certifications, and like I said, our son is going to be graduating with these out of high school. And then, of course, real world work experience. Now, AI proofing, I think that that's just kind of a blanket statement because really it comes down to, are you building communication? Are you building things that will create that leadership, the sales in every industry? That is definitely a skill set that is worth just trying to like read up on and educate yourself. And of course, problem solving skills. I mean, the things that AI really can't fake here. Now, I know the hot takes out there that college is a scam, and no, it's not. It's just a risk managed investment. And your average ROI, it can still be positive, but only if the details make sense. And then, of course, I know that nobody needs a degree anymore, and that is also a false statement because try becoming a nurse, an engineer, or a teacher without one. Some fields, they just require it. Now, you could also say AI has made degrees useless. Well, no, that is also not the case. AI made directionless degrees useless. And I also want to highlight here that humanities degrees and to have like a human aspect, if you are technically savvy or can get yourself there, and even studying sociology, psychology, or anthropology, those are also important degrees because AI is not there yet. And we definitely need people that are tech savvy, but also savvy in those paths as well. So I'll just kind of put a plug in there. But really what AI has done is it's raised a premium on people who can direct, who can integrate, and who can communicate. And here's the thing, if I were 18 again, or 17 or 18 in this day and age, if I had clarity, I would pick the best value accredited program. And I know that sounds like old man talk, but seriously, this is something that you really need to think about. Now, if the degree is 4 years, and as I was saying before, like if you can take AP classes, college level classes, maybe cut that down, that would be great. Intern early and build that proof. Intern often if you can. Hustle on that one. That is that network piece. Now, if I didn't have clarity, and that's the thing, I didn't. So when I graduated and I worked that summer, after that, I packed up my car, put my drums in the back seat, and I headed to Atlanta. And I had this very winding path. I had this amazing, exceptional experience. I met some amazing people, some amazing artists, got into music production, and it turned the lights on a little bit for me. And I will say, like, if you can work for 6 to 12 months, if you can explore, maybe doing some community college stuff, but I was definitely learning. Find out what lights you up before spending thousands. And like I said, I did a very winding path, and I am very grateful that I did it. I have some pretty crazy and cool stories, but also just the fact that I feel like, you know what, I have done that. And I love business. So if I wanted to do business, I would combine trades because fewer people, I would say, because of YouTube videos, people are doing certain things like working on their cars and doing things around their house. But generally speaking, there are a lot of things that are happening, what cars and at home, where we still need the trades. And so I would combine that with business skills and try to figure out a business there, because there are always going to be problems there that AI just cannot address. Or working in sales. Man, I was a telemarketer. I don't recommend it, but it certainly helped me build my sales chops for sure. But I was also trying to take targeted courses to build out that skill set for sure. And that's something that you can do. You can always add formal education later once you know what your ROI is. Now, parents, here's the thing. Gen X right here. If you're Gen X and people have asked, oh, did you have both parents around who raised you, whatever? We raised ourselves. It is true. We were feral. I mean, we were gone most of the day, like on the weekends and during the summers. And like our parents were just there. Yes, we went home to our parents at night. My mom, it was just me and my mom. But let's be real here. We had a lot of friction. We had a lot of hurdles. And I know that we say, like, we don't want our kids to have, the same life that we did, or we want them to have better. They still have to have some skin in the game. Stop saying college or nothing else. I would say start saying, let's find the right path for your goals. And also, too, here's the thing. When we say that, well, college extends them just being a kid for a little bit longer. I'm sorry, folks. 17, 18 years old, especially 18 years old, they are young adults. So I'm not saying exactly like give them as much friction as we had, but they are becoming young adults, and that pathway can still happen. Because when you ask your kid, what job do they want? Well, yes, you're probably going to have to sit down with them. You're probably going to have to help them explore, but they have access to more than the Encyclopedia Britannica that we did. So these are things that they can experiment with. But yes, you will have to schedule it. You will have to assign them so that they can figure that out. And then what skills prove that they can do it? And then, of course, what is the cheapest, credible way to get those skills? I would say be open to those gap years, those apprenticeships, that community college first. Because again, the apprenticeship, the internship, those gap years can still teach them how to be responsible, how to be accountable. Because again, when they go out into the world, and if you have the resources to do so, like I said, for our son, we're going to just try to send him out there and just put him in some places that he'll be safe, hopefully, but it'll also create this environment where he's going to have to push himself. Do you know how long these kids are going to live? Like this generation, like Gen Z and Gen Alpha? I mean, we're not talking about lifespan. We are talking about health span here. So just think about this. Like you could say like, well, yeah, you can get your 4 years and just get that done. And then you can go do all of those things. And I would say I was thankful that I got a lot of that stuff out of the way before college, because ultimately we end up meeting a partner and maybe they become our spouse, and then maybe we have kids, and then those things get put on the back burner. And I'm not saying like you can't travel with your kids and you can't live and do all that stuff and then you're miserable. That is not what I'm saying. But I am saying that was an opportunity. That was a time where we could really take some real chances here and just do some things to test the waters and maybe stuff that you probably don't even understand. But the guardrail. If you're going down that path, keep total borrowing under about 8 to 10% of your first year take home pay. And that one rule will save you future headaches and help you set up your investments. And I will say education is always valuable, but college is not the only way to get it. The real lie isn't go to college. It's go to college because that is the only answer. Go because it's the smartest, highest return path to the problem that you want to solve. And if it's not, choose differently with your eyes open and the numbers right in front of you and tight, because degrees don't build wealth, decisions do. And of course, your network. And regardless of the path, college or not, if you're learning, if you're earning, and you're adapting, I sounded kind of like Dr. Seuss there, but you are already leveling up. As always, I appreciate your time here. Hit me up in the comment section. Let's have a conversation. Seriously, I want to know. I want to know all the sides. I want to know all the experiences. I want to hear from you. How was your path? What's going on with your kids? What are you thinking? What are you talking about? Seriously, we'll have a conversation. I appreciate your time here, and I'll catch you right back here on your next level up.